All right, everybody, welcome to the channel. I got a good friend here today, Todd. Todd, I wanted Todd to come on the show due to the fact of how much I respect this man and what he's done with his business and how he's grown it, where he's at in his recovery. And one of the biggest things to me, having a young family and everything, is due to the fact of what I've seen him do with what I see from him out of his family, and I get to watch. It, I'm actually jealous, because I seen him race with his daughter, and not jealous in a bad way, jealous like in a way I can't wait to be there. Because I got to watch you race with your daughter on camera, and I watch his races and everything else, and uh, it was super cool to see that. And I was laying there fantasizing about the day me and Paige, my daughter, is going to do it, and she's going to run with me and my son. I just got done talking to your son Jacob for a while, man, and just to see how he talks about you as his dad. Uh, I, I I pray every day that I can live up to shoes like that in my kids' eyes. So
Thanks,
that's one
man.
of the huge things, man. But go ahead, if for the people that don't know you, tell them a little bit about yourself, my dude.
Um, well, I let's start out with the recovery side of things. I've been sober from alcohol for 18 years. Um, I am an entrepreneur. I currently own and been involved in numerous different businesses. Um, I've got a wonderful, beautiful wife and two kids that I adore and I live for. Yeah. I mean, to me, family is the biggest thing.
So awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Just hearing you talk about your kids and how you know fantasize about the way things are going to look in the future. I didn't have that same sort of sort of realization about what I have now. I didn't fantasize about what I have now back then. I was kind of living I was a different place in my life, and it was definitely a grind, and it was about achievements in business and you know being successful. That's for me, that's really where my head was at, and I didn't have the same sort of you know forethought that you have right now about how you want your life to be. Fortunately for me, I think it turned out okay, but I didn't have that same sort of insight
So you
back then.
were you were in survival mode in like
100%.
2008, right? When everything kind of crashed and went crazy. That's when you jumped into like survival mode. And I was talking with Jacob about it. It was like, hey, when we were younger, like it wasn't like it is now. My dad was doing everything he can to put food on the table, and that's what and the channel. We talked about this and everything else, and that's why your stories mean something and it means so much. Is because there's so many businessmen out there and so many people trying to stay sober or clean, and there's so many people out there that are really like just struggling on the day to day right now.
Yeah.
They gotta understand that there's hope out there, right? There is. Buckle down, and even when times get bad, tell them when times get bad, what happens, Ben?
Things always turn around at some point, but you gotta just kind of just grin and bear it and get through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's survival mode. It really is.
uh but once you get through it, I mean, we were just talking about it. You sit back and you reflect, and I can look at the walls, and I can see some of the trophies back there, and I can see the cars and everything. You know what I mean? And me personally, I got a bunch of your gear on one of my cars, and I
Yep.
was like, this is the best ever, forever. I remember when I was like just getting started, and I was like, I can't wait to get that kit. uh, how is it in business, building out a business like you guys have built out? What stopped you? What's some of the things you've had to overcome as you're doing it?
So my first business, which is related to the power sports business, I owned a company that was Evolution Motorsports,
Mm-hmm.
and we did basically the same thing we do for side by sides. We did for high end European cars.
Okay.
like Porsche, Ferrari, Lambo, and that's how I met Tony.
Yeah.
Um, and you know, that business was had a lot of similarities, but also a lot of differences. The similarities are we basically built high performance upgrades for vehicles. Um, where it differed was the clientele. I met some great people in the motorsport business, but there's a lot of high expectations. There's usually a lot more money on the line. Vehicles are a heck of a lot more expensive if something goes wrong. So there's a lot. I felt like I was in a pressure cooker all the time. Um, but
So wait, you're telling me you blow up somebody's Ferrari and they're gonna be upset about
yeah, right.
it? No.
Those are some big checks for
Yeah.
when that happened. You know.
But I see you still got the Porsche up
I
top, the world record, right?
yeah, I've had that car since '01.
Is it still a world record or?
No, back then it was. Someone has beaten our record since then. But at the time it was, the first car to run a 9-second quarter mile, which in today's days is like nothing.
Yeah,
But back then, these cars were really hard to tune and to make go fast. So,
that's awesome.
but yeah, I hung on to that one. It's definitely special.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, and then that business went through the '08 '09 crash, and that was a huge learning curve for me and for my wife and I, and because she was an integral part of the business. Um, so the when I started the power sports business with my brother, I wanted to take the mistakes that I made in the motorsports business and not replicate them in the power sports business.
Hmm.
So it was definitely, lack of better words, an evolution of businesses. Um, and for the most part, I think we went down a more structured road than I did with my motorsports company.
Hmm.
So
What was how did you guys see? Because when 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 I seen side by sides and everything else came out, and I was like, oh, that's cool. You know what I mean? Uh, what? How did you see it? Like how did you ever think it was going to be to what it is today, and how you guys are, how, and what I mean, just what you built, what you guys have built
yeah,
today.
I like to use myself as, I look at myself as a customer, right? And I try to look at myself and, if I'm enjoying something, can I see a bigger market somewhere else? Like, and I was an early adopter of the off-road thing. Not as early as some people that I know, but I had in 2005, 2006, I had a Yamaha Rhino,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which was like the first, if you want to call it a side by side, it was a
Yeah.
farm vehicle that we did long travel on and turbocharged it and, made it a four-seater. Um, and my family and I, Jacob was just a little baby at that point, and we had a ton of fun in that thing. And I saw how much money people were spending on these rhinos. Like I know I'm one. I spent like 8 or 9 thousand bucks on the unit, but all said and done, I had 40 grand into the thing.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
so
still to this
to
day
this
that
day, it's the same
it
way.
happens. I've spent you know this. I bought my uh new Polaris side by side, right? And I think I bought it for
Yeah,
$39,000. I got 100 and something into it. It's
right.
got turbo kits, rims, tires, cage, you name it, and they're just built completely. And every time something new comes out, I'm like, how do we put this on, Todd?
Yep.
What do we do here? You know what I mean? So yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So I just saw that I saw it being an emerging market, and with the amount of money people were spending on that class of vehicle at the time, it could only get better. And then um, the Arctic Cat came out with a Wildcat, which was actually a pretty advanced vehicle for the time. So, that was really our first vehicle that we started modifying. But I saw the writing on the wall back in '07,
Mm-hmm.
'08. And because our company started with just doing snowmobile upgrades. My brother lived in Minnesota. I lived here. I had my motorsports company, and he wanted sort of a side quest of a business to start. And we started with snowmobiles, but slowly it turned into side by sides and
Hmm.
snowmobiles, and now it's really just side by sides
Hmm.
because that market's huge. But no, it's been an interesting ride. It's interesting to see where we started to where we are now with these full blown, you know, yeah, these
Crazy builds,
yeah,
top to
like
bottom.
it's hard. So it's easy to look back and see where we came from to where we are now and that huge technology difference between here and here, but it's hard to imagine where we're going, right? And that to me is kind of blows me away to think about. It's so good now. Where are they going to go from here?
Man, I've seen some crazy stuff come out recently. This guy built, I don't know if you've seen it or not,
Yeah,
the Tesla one where it's doing like 900 horsepower or something. I mean, it's just ridiculous or
yep,
whatever it is. But I mean, yeah. So that industry, what are some of the stakes that you've made from here to there? What's some of the positives, and what would you do different? I mean, for young entrepreneurs out there and people that are trying to, you took a risk by saying, "Hey, I'm gonna leave the high end stuff, right, and I'm gonna go into this." And you took a risk and brought on partners and everything else, which are always, which you know what I mean. But what were some of the not mistakes, but what were some of the things that you didn't see coming that you wish you would have caught, and how would you change them today on like business side? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
because I run into them all the time. I made some major mistakes. I
yeah,
sold my first business, and I haven't. I sold my first business, and I think I got like 900 grand, right? And I was like, I'm gonna retire.
yeah,
I was broke a year later.
yeah,
You know what I mean? It was not a good decision, but it was a moving company, and I was moving furniture in Phoenix, and I was just done. You know what I mean? But when you made this jump to side by sides and everything, there had to have been a lot of things that popped up and done in business.
yeah. I think the biggest hurdle initially was the market at the time was so immature that it I was coming from a high-end clientele who expected perfection.
Yeah.
And in this industry, when we first got into it, like you just had to have a heartbeat and you could make it because the technology was so low. Um, and I remember the conversation I had with my brother was, if we're going to build exhaust systems for off-road vehicles, they're going to come off the same production line that our exhaust for Ferraris and Porsches were going to come off of, and it was going to use the same quality materials, and we were going to do them all in house, and that's it. And an exhaust at that time, they retail for like $250,
Mm-hmm.
and we were coming to market with exhaust systems that were $600-700, and people thought we were crazy. But the we basically chose our customer at that point, right? We chose a high-end customer who wanted quality and wasn't really price shopping. So I think that's kind of how we started, choosing who we wanted to do business with, and it forced the rest of the market to kind of elevate and get better. So
So that's when I hear of the company, right, and I hear of Evo and everything else, I hear of high end quality, and you guys started that at the bottom, right,
yeah,
right off the bat, right. I know there's tons of haters out there, tons of people or whatever. I only want to put the best on my car,
yep,
especially when I'm running I'll be out, let's say I'm running Glamis or I'm running out on the track or I'm running wherever, right? Or I'm just even driving up the street and I got my kids in it. I don't want the stuff that's going to leave me on the side of a dune or on the
yeah,
side of a road. I want the stuff that I know has been proven, tested,
yep,
and I watched the videos before I knew you. I watched the videos of you guys tuning, of you guys testing. I watched the videos of which is really cool, and I watched the brand,
yeah.
which if you're building a brand, how many like you guys built one heck of a brand. How many problems have you guys ran into with that?
In just in terms of problems along the way or problems building, it takes a lot more energy, time, money, resources to build a brand than it does to build a product.
Yes.
So we obviously it wasn't the most inexpensive, path, but to me, it's kind of all I knew. Like I didn't know any different. Like I wasn't building products for, the bottom feeders in my Porsche business, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know how to operate that way. So that's why we operated the way we did, um, and it definitely was the path of most resistance to
Yeah.
to try to be, at an OE type level with, not nearly the resources that an OE has. So
Yeah. And I, to this day, I still see people pull up with like your logo blasted all over their car. And remember, we were out together recently, and I was like, "Were you on that trip or no?" But we were out together, and there was a guy that pulled up across the way from us, and he popped out, and I was like, that whole car is wrapped Evo, you know." And I was like, I wonder if they're out here right now.
yeah,
And it was one of the ones I think you had sold to an old customer or something.
yep,
And he was still rocking it. He didn't change nothing on it. And he said he ain't had one problem with it. And he was ripping it like every chance he got,
yeah,
which is cool because you want, and what we're doing, especially when we're paying the money we're paying for these things, you want reliability.
yeah,
And then you guys also, everywhere I've been to that I like going out to, uh, I see your guys' shop set up there too.
yeah,
So if something does happen,
yep.
you can show up and get it fixed. And that's one of the biggest things that I respect about the company the most and what you guys have done.
Thank you. Yeah,
If my stuff breaks, I'm pulling right up in there. I know you're going to come out, Jacob's going to come out, somebody's going to come out that I trust and is going to, you know what I mean, look at it, help me, talk with me.
yeah.
Uh,
And I think that's the difference between people that are in the industry and are enthusiasts versus people that just are running a business to make money,
yep.
right? And I know what it's like to go out to Glamis and have my stuff break down, and that's like my biggest fear is for a customer to spend all this time and money with us and get out there and something's broke.
But you
Like I
you
know.
you care. 90% of the other
Yeah.
people don't care, but you know because you're out there with us.
Yeah.
And I rode with you. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
ride with you, so I
Yep.
know that you care. Because when I break, I'm like, I'm done. Because you spend all this money going out there, right? You spend all this time, and then your car breaks,
Yep.
and you're running around.
And your wife and kids are there and they're like, Dad, when are we going to ride?
Yeah,
It's like, oh, shit's broke.
everybody else leaves. You're in camp. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Give me that bowl of Cheerios. Yeah. So, uh, all right. On the family side, how cool is it now that I respect the heck out of your wife. She's an awesome person.
Yeah.
I got to meet her multiple times, and every time I've got to hang out with her or just can't say enough about her. Just like I can't say enough about you or your kids. How is it now? I hear you're third in the points and Jacob's second in the points.
Mm-hmm.
How is it now? Your boy is uh, about he's how many years has he been racing with you, or how many years has he been racing on his
We've
own?
been racing. He raced, I think, 1 year more than, maybe 2 years more than me. So his was, let's see, 2017, 18.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I mean, I'll be the first to tell you that he's faster than I am,
That's awesome.
but he's 21 years old. So, and this is definitely changed over, the course of the past 2 years. He was just flat out all the time. And, unfortunately in desert racing, sometimes flat out all the time doesn't win races.
Yeah.
You're fast, but, sometimes the car preservation is just as difficult as it is to drive fast.
Yeah.
So, definitely, I have that on my side because I'm definitely a lot more calculated than he is. But this season, we've had some growing pains, and he's found his way, and he's got this car pretty well figured out, and he's fast. So
That's awesome. So to me, it's a beautiful thing. If my son was beating, I'm pretty competitive. You're pretty
yeah,
competitive, right?
yeah,
Uh,
100%. I will never let him win.
yeah.
Like if like, yeah, I think people think that maybe I would, but I take no prisoners when it comes to racing. If I'm gonna win, I'm gonna win, and if he's gonna win, I'm gonna do everything I can to make him not win, you know.
So I was watching a video the other day about how we gotta let our children fail sometimes, right? And that reminds me of this story right now. And how we gotta let our children fail is because they gotta understand that, you know what I mean? Especially if we're racing, that I'm gonna do my best to win,
Yep.
and you're gonna do your best to win because I would cheat you out of that victory
Yeah.
if uh, I cheated myself by letting you win.
Yeah. I
Uh,
want to win. I want to win against people that are there, at their best. I don't want to win, with people that aren't there to
well,
win, right?
that's a
Like,
that's a life lesson. You know what I
yeah.
mean? And when we can see people today going from just that in business, I was talking to a guy recently that uh, he got gave a business from his family,
Hmm.
and it was a huge business, made a great money. He grew up with a golden spoon in his mouth, everything else, right? And mom passed away, dad had to go to a home, business is his, and he tanked it. Never had the drive, the hustle. He's having to relearn everything step by step now. And I'm kind of mentoring him through it.
Yeah.
But he was like, it was never this hard for me. It was never this. And I was like, well, how did your dad make it? And he was like, well, my dad made it with nothing. He started,
That's
this. And so the drive that he had to have, that's the life lessons I'm talking about, right?
yeah.
Same thing in racing. If he's going to win it, he's going to win it due to the fact that
That he was better than me that day.
he was better than you,
Yep.
right?
And he doesn't want me to pull over to let him win, and likewise, I don't want him to pull over to let me win, right?
Yeah.
Like, I want to
Now,
beat him on.
Now, if the championship's on the line and he needs to
Well,
win the
no,
race, no, I'm playing.
no, no, no. We have had strategic. Last year or 2 years ago, we did have some strategy. He was out of the points. I was racing for the championship, and although we didn't need to strategize, we talked about it, but it never we never needed to.
Yeah,
But not that we would do anything that was nefarious or anything like that. It was
yeah,
just that you know if I had the ability to be up front and he had the ability to be behind me to kind of make
yeah,
sure that um
yeah. That's awesome. Well,
yeah.
that's they do that
And
in
I do the same for him if it came down to it.
they actually do that. I was watching NASCAR. They'll actually do that with NASCAR teams and everything else, where they'll help each other out and
Yep.
push each other. So that's racing. But what's the future look like right now? What are you pushing towards more and more? Where do you think you want to be? Is it, are you just relaxing now, trying to have time with the family? Are you still hardcore driven? Are you looking for different new opportunities coming out? Or what is it? What are you doing right now? Tell the
Yeah, I mean, I would say all of the above. I and this is something you probably know, um, but as me 20 years ago, I would have not believed it. But you can't make any more time,
Yep.
right? You can make money at any point in your life, but you can't create more time. And to me, not that I feel like I missed out on, you know, my kids growing up. I was there for most of it. I wasn't as present as a person in their life, in my own life. Um, but I feel like, you know, time is not on, my side in terms of, wanting to spend as much time as I can with them and just do cool shit, right?
Yeah.
Like, life's too short to, be stuck and not be happy.
It
So,
is. It is. And there's different stages in your life. We talked about
yeah,
it. There's the stage where you're in
I
the
remember
grind.
the stage that you're in.
Yeah, you're in the stage, the grind. You're in the stage of the young family. You're in the stage of, hey, let's write it out. I'm kind of in the mixture of I love my kids to death. I love my wife to death. I want to give them everything in the world, and I want to be there for them and everything else. But there's also we have multiple really, really successful businesses.
Yep.
And the reason why we get to live the life we get to live today is due to the fact that we maintain those businesses. So uh, I just had to take a trip to Idaho, where we have a company out there, and I had to be out there for a little bit. And one of the things when I was in Idaho is like every night, just talking to them, putting them to bed on the phone.
Yep.
I could just feel because they usually go with me. I'll
Mm-hmm.
take them with me, and I couldn't this time. And it just sucked. But I'm doing more and more today to try to be involved because I don't
Yeah.
want to miss that.
Yeah.
Just like you're doing, and you're in a different stage, man. You're in the stage where daughter's probably getting a boyfriend soon. Jacob's got
Yep.
a girlfriend. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I can see where this is all going here, and it's pretty cool, man. But I mean, she's still in the car with you, and I don't even know. My little girl's like my prize. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm a little bit more harder on my son, but uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's, I think, I want to continue, doing, this with Jacob
Hmm.
and Olivia when she wants to race with me. I've got obviously my co-driver John, who
Hmm.
um, but there's certain races that, we'll do that he either is, you know, got other commitments or, is good with Olivia taking
The spot,
the
yeah,
spot. So, um, so Jacob's been my co-driver as well,
yeah,
and he's a great co-driver. He's definitely a racer. He's a driver, not a co-driver, but he is a really good co-driver. Olivia is a really good co-driver. Like she is. It's different, I think, with my daughter because I'm there to create a memory with her.
yeah.
Whereas when I'm with John, I'm out for blood, right?
Blood,
Blood.
yeah,
And so it's a different mindset going into the race. And I've had some of my best races not going after blood, but just wanting to create a memory with my daughter.
yeah,
So, some of that is within me. Um, but it's definitely cool to see the differences and it's been super fun to do that with her and I hope that you get a chance to do it because it's like nothing else.
yeah. I'm not
And racing against your son is like nothing else in a different way.
a, yeah. I'm not a co-driver. Like in fact, every time I've been in the seat with somebody else in the last 5 years, they roll the car.
Yep.
Like I'm at the point where it's definitely me.
Yeah.
Either I got too much weight on one side or something's going on. But even when they were like, "Oh, let's just run over here real quick," we rolled the car. I'm like, "This is
Yeah.
crazy."
Yeah. I'm not a
Uh,
co-driver either.
so I made a rule that I don't ride with nobody, no matter what. I will walk before I get in a car with somebody else right now, and that's just due to the fact of rolling a car 5 times.
Yeah.
Uh, done with that.
Yeah.
Uh, anything before we close it out you want to say or?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I definitely want to talk about, my journey in terms of my sobriety because it wasn't so elegant,
Yeah,
and I don't think it is for really anybody. I don't think anybody says, wow, my path to recovery was, all rainbows and butterflies,
it's rough,
it is
man.
rough. And, if we can, give a little bit of hope to, I know people that are in your, facilities, your treatment facilities, I know a lot of them go in there and they don't think that, it's pretty grim,
Yeah,
for them and to see the possibilities of what can come of it is huge. Just to I'll give you a brief backstory and I my I was a functioning alcoholic. I think I drank more to numb my surroundings and just numb, you know, the stresses of life and maybe not being so sure with, the path I was on or whatever, and
mm-hmm.
it was, I was functioning, but I wasn't, I don't think I was growing because I wasn't dealing with a lot of the pain and struggles of life,
Right.
and I think that's what a lot of people drink and do drugs is because they can't cope with
Life.
life. or reality or whatever. And so my wife made the decision to get sober before I did.
Mm-hmm.
She's a heck of a lot smarter than I am, as most women
They are.
are.
They are.
You know, so there wasn't pressure from her to for me to follow her path, but I think at some point, you know, she thought that maybe my path should be a little bit different than the path I was on. Um, and it got to the
Which there was probably some nudges there.
no,
Or no.
100% there was nudges, but you know, I wasn't a quick learner. And we, yeah, and I think we were having some marital issues. Um, Life was tough. We had a newborn, my son.
Yeah.
He came into the world, and I guess I'm glad I was drinking during that because he was born with um, a heart problem that was undiagnosed, and yeah, that was probably one of the most painful things that my wife and I had to go through at the time. Not that I'm glad I was drinking, but it I didn't know any different, and it definitely helped getting through that tough time because there was a whole lot of unknowns, and you know, he was our world at the time.
Yeah.
He still is my world. Um, but my wife got sober, and her journey began, and mine never really started until I really had an ultimatum. And I'm glad she gave me an ultimatum, but it wasn't for her, it was for our family. And she knew that if I continued down the path that I was on and she continued down the path that she was on, our paths were just going two different directions.
Yep.
And I had a decision to make. And, you know, just like you sit here and romance about, you know, the future with your kids, that to me was the biggest determining factor of changing my life. Um, the thought of not having a family unit and having, you know, a son that didn't have a father directly in his life in a, you know, a loving couple. And yeah, my wife was ready to pack her bags and leave with him.
Yeah.
So,
I.
you know, that to me, that was the wake up call that I needed to say, hey, you know what, maybe she's right. Maybe I'm down a path that I should really wake up from and try to get some help. So that was the beginning of my journey, and you know, I kicked and screamed along the way, as probably all good addicts do, and um, here I am. You know, it wasn't easy,
Yeah.
but you know,
No.
fortunately for me, you know, God and you know, the program um, took my desire to drink away from
Mm-hmm.
me early on, so I didn't struggle with the constant, like, I can't be at a bar, I can't be at a restaurant, and like I got to, you know, they're drinking, I'm not, you know. So for me, that was, you know, very fortunate. But you know, then I struggled with, you know, work addiction and, you know, whatever else I could be addicted to. You know, I mean, granted, my addiction is adrenaline at some point, but I guess that's probably one of the more healthy versions of it, I hope. Um, but yeah, I'm thankful for the second chance in, you know, being a good father and being a good husband. And
I think you made
um,
the right decision.
yeah,
Most people can't see the opportunity that's in front of them at the time, especially when they're in the disease,
yeah,
and what I call the disease, when they're in their alcoholism or their addiction or whatever we want to call it, and they're in it. It's really hard to make that decision, but uh, they there's different things out there where people say when it comes to recovery is, oh, you have to do it for yourself, right? And I don't believe that.
yeah. I don't either.
I don't believe it either, because they're like, well, you have to do it for yourself. At one point in time you're going to have to do it for
Yeah,
yourself. But I've known thousands of people that have, like, you're one of them, that have said, I got to choose to walk away from this for my family,
yeah,
for my son, for my daughter, for my wife, for, you know what I mean, for my business, for whatever, for and they didn't do it for themselves. They did it for something else. But at that time, they were doing it for something else, and they were doing it to uh, change for them, and then sooner or later it came back to they were doing it for everything
Yeah.
now. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And I mean, I don't think most addicts care about themselves enough to make
Boom.
that change to
Right.
be able to say, I'm doing it for me. No, like there has to be another reason, I think, because like I didn't care about myself enough to want to make the change on my own.
Yeah. So if you're a wife out there, right, and your husband or your loved one or whatever is going through it, don't hesitate to ask them. Don't hesitate to be a part of the change, right?
Yeah.
Because, like you just said, sometimes we're not going to do it for ourselves. In fact, we don't love ourselves and care about ourselves enough to change.
Yeah.
It's but we care about you and love you, and we love our kids enough to make those changes. And that's why a good woman is so good to have.
Agreed.
You know,
And one thing that a good therapist that I had at the time who helped me get through this, number one, was he was an addict himself and he was in recovery. So finding a good person you can communicate with that has lived in your shoes was super important to me
mm-hmm.
because I couldn't take advice from somebody who hadn't, been through the things that I've been through. So that was
That's
hugely important for
yeah,
me.
that's the
And the second thing was he constantly would tell me is play out what things will look like. If you decide that you're going to, go to the bar tonight and get drunk, play out what's going to happen, an hour from now, tonight when you get home, next week, a month from now, like what is that all going to look like? And none of it looked good. So I knew that if I was ever questioning, my path and I would even dream about getting off my path, I would start playing out what my life would look like if I decided to not.
yeah.
Yeah,
And you know why we do that is we do that, or why they do that, and I could tell you why they do it is because addicts at the time don't ever think about, they think about right
they're
now.
selfish. Yeah, and
Yeah,
we're selfish.
we're selfish and we think about right now. We don't think about 5 hours from now, 5 days from now. We're thinking about right now and how we want that instant
Yeah,
gratification. One reasons why I love riding so much and driving and 100 20 miles an hour down doing a wheelie down O's or whatever it is, right? Is because it puts me in that right now. I can only focus on what's going on right now.
yeah.
What's in front of me, I'm not focused on my business. I'm not focusing on like anything else. I'm focusing on what's happening right now. We're in the drive. You're in the race, right?
That's the one
Uh,
time where my mind is not going a million miles a minute.
100 places,
I'm so laser focused on what I'm doing. It's like it's the biggest mind release and mind break that I can have, even though it's using my mind in a different way. All the outside things in the world don't really matter.
right? That's it's an escape for me. It's an escape for you,
Yep.
and it's a so if you ain't got a hobby like that, maybe you should pick one up.
And that's the other thing is, this hobby it's expensive, but it takes a tremendous amount of time. But that time, if I didn't spend it doing this, with my son and my
Mm-hmm.
wife is back here sometimes, my daughter, what would I be doing? Right? I'd be sitting idle, probably figuring out a way to, be an addict again.
Yeah. Uh,
So,
what a, we were talking about it, and I want to put it out there because we were talking about uh, you getting a channel, you getting a podcast, everything else. I want people to put in there what if they would watch it or not, like and share, because I think they would. I think there's some cool stuff, and I would personally donate and help towards it. But I think we should see Todd at some kid tracks. I think we should see Jacob there. I think we should see helping bless some of the less fortunate. You know what I mean? And we talked about it. That's the
yeah.
things that you want to do. I would love to see that, and I would love to be a part of it. I know, like we have a bunch of friends that would join in and help, and it's giving back into the community because. And I was thinking about it as we were talking. What if we were to build something out that changed 100 kids' lives in Arizona or in
Yeah.
California or whatever, uh, that we're going to go down the road of addiction, the road of where some of the kids at home that they're. I remember, I'll tell a story, and when I first got into the off-road stuff, it was a dirt bike, right? And I was walking in Sunny Slope, and I was walking up the street, and there was this old biker club at the end of the street in Sunny Slope, and they had this old dirt bike there. And I walked by, and one of the bikers was like, "You like that bike?" and it was like broke down, beat up, and I was like, yeah, man, I was like, I think I was like 7 or 8, you know, and I was like, I wish I can ride it, and he was like, come start mowing my lawn, man, and I'll fix it for you to ride it. And I started mowing the guy's lawn once a week and cleaning up all the trash there. And then like 2 months later, they fixed up the bike and gave it to me. And they're like, anytime it breaks down, just come back. But you owe me a year's worth of mowing. Don't make me come get my bike back, is what he told me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh, and I used to ride that thing everywhere, dude. I remember I tied a lawnmower onto the back of the bike and I'd drive it around Sunny Slope and knock on doors asking people if I could mow their lawn to get gas money
Yep.
for the bike, you know? And it was just, that was taking me out of the scenario I was in. So that's why I loved it so much. And uh, man, I rode that bike everywhere. That was like one of those things, you know?
Yep.
Uh, but thinking about it, I would love to be a part of something like that one day, to be able to give back to some kind of way, or some kind of help, some kind of kids, or some people in some kind of environment like that, or
Yeah.
even a family. If I can bless a family that's getting their kids into something like this, or the dad or somebody, you know what I mean? Be some cool stuff, man. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not saying
No,
I'm committed to it, or you have to commit to
I'm
it.
I'm
Uh,
I'm in.
yeah.
We just got to
Wouldn't
figure out how
wouldn't
and
that be some cool stuff though? And it's like addicts changing, people that got better changing and helping other people get better. I
yeah.
like it, man.
I think it would be really cool because that's one area that is not I haven't seen in our sport. I mean, I've seen the Wounded Warriors
Yeah.
and you know they have like a firefighter team. So yeah, having something like that um, for recovering addicts, I think would be a huge
Yeah.
thing.
All right. Well,
Cool.
awesome, guys. Todd, one more time, thank you so much for letting us come
Thank
to
you,
your
man. I
house. Thank you
appreciate it.
so much for letting us see the shop and everything else. If you don't know who this guy is, please like and follow him. Go look at all this stuff. I mean, you can't not know who he is when if you're in this, if you're in the off road stuff like we are. You know what I mean? I appreciate it,
Thanks,
dude.
man. Appreciate it.